Mess me up, Helen. Mess me up. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rae Vargas, and one of you suggested that I check out BookTube. That's what you said one day. You left a comment. Check out BookTube. Check it out. I went, okay. Is that booktube.com or... No, it's just the book side of YouTube, and I checked it out, and I was already a reader, and you know, I already loved books, and then I discovered Christopher Columbus style. I discovered that BookTube was a thing, and there are people that love to read. I now say I like to read. These people, reading is life. Anyway, that's been so fun. But I've been planning on doing my book club videos again for years. For me personally, what I've realized is I wish at the beginning of every single video, every booktuber would just say like, these are my likes and these are my dislikes. Because obviously everybody has really different opinions of books based on what it is that they enjoy reading. So for me personally, at this stage today, at this point in my life, when it comes to reading fictional books, I like romance. It doesn't have to be super deep and heavy, but I would prefer to kind of feel it. I want a little angst. I want the slow burn. I want the things just building up. I want to feel it. I want to be in love, okay? I want to be in love while I'm reading this book. I want to be in love with whoever I'm supposed to be in love with, okay? I want to be hurt by them. I want them to make me feel every single emotion that the people in the book are feeling. I want to feel it. I also have a bunch of nonfiction books, and on that front, I'm not a big fan of like historical stuff. I am, however, a big fan. I don't know why I had to tell you that, but I just like, in case, I realized so many people actually like historical stuff, and it's just like, really? Not me, but maybe it's because I haven't been introduced to the right one. So if you guys have book suggestions as we go through, leave them below. Only the ones that are good. Don't be telling me to read books that suck, because some of you guys do that, and I think you do it on purpose. Anyway, as far as the nonfiction books go, I'm a big fan of books that will help me improve in some area of my life. So I guess self-help books, and I also like it's just something where I'll learn. I really want to learn about something, so I tend to read like general sort of self-help books, negotiating books, business books. I don't really do finance books, but I could see myself diving into that in the future. All of that being said, I'm pretty much open to try anything. I used to love fantasy, and I could see myself getting back into it if the right series presented itself. I'm thinking of trying some Leigh Bardugo books. Leigh Bardugo. I don't really like YA though. I like, you know, adult stuff. I like, and I like contemporary stuff. So let's jump into what I read in these months leading up to the new year, because since the new year, which in current time was 7 days ago, I've read, I think, 6 books. So those will be in the next video, and you guys can follow my Instagram if you want to kind of follow along with like what I'm currently reading, because I'll just make sure to start posting it there. And like I said, you just follow my Instagram. I'll create a story or something and a highlight so that you can, you know, go back and see what I read. So, okay, we had to move because the sun was getting kind of crazy over there. All right, so I already filmed this video twice because I spent so long talking about these books, so I'm gonna try this again. First up, I'm going to talk about this author that was very much new to me. This was her debut novel, I believe, and I think it was in 2018, 2019, and she has another one coming out in 2020. I talked about this extensively on my vlog channel, so if you want more, go there. But I actually read them, I guess, in reverse order, although, yes, they're basically in the same sort of world, and there are connecting characters, and there's a spoiler in this one about the end of this one. However, it's pretty insignificant. I did not feel like I lost anything having known that, and I didn't even connect the dots immediately. It took me a little while to figure out that the people that were spoken about in this book one time were actually the same ones that were in this book. So this is about Stella and Michael. And it's basically Stella, who's the main character here, and Kai, who is the main character here. They're both on the spectrum. I believe Asperger's. Stella has Asperger's, and Kai is autistic. I believe the author is also somewhere on the spectrum, I think. And if she's not, then, I mean, she's doing a really amazing job at kind of tapping into the sort of intricacies of it all and the behaviors, I'll say. So I read this one first because I picked it up at the bookstore and I was just like, I gotta get this. I have to get it. It was calling to me. And I absolutely loved it. Like, this was a book I could not put down. I was out and about in my life doing things and I just couldn't put it down. I was reading in places I never read, basically. Like, I was just like, oh, there's a break in conversation? I'll be over here doing this. It was so good, you guys. It touched everything for me. Like, it made me feel what it wanted me to feel. It didn't tell me what to do. It just dropped it on me. It dropped this bomb of a story on me. And basically, I don't want to do a bunch of synopsis because this video is going to be so long, but in short, Kai is not really interested in love and relationships and all of that, and he's just convinced he can't love anybody. And his mom is like, no, that's incorrect. And she goes to Ho Chi Minh City. She finds Esme, who is a she's cleaning, basically. She's a cleaning lady girl, and she has a daughter, and that's a hidden fact throughout most of the book. But anyway, I mean, it's not hidden to the reader. We know about it. But she comes back and they're like, all right, you need to try this. Basically Kai tells his mom, like, all right, fine, I'll, give it a little bit or whatever, but I can't love this girl. I don't want to be with her. I don't want to love her, whatever. And Esme's like, I'm going to do my best. You know what I mean? But it's not like she's love at first sight or anything. And it's just a story of kind of their relationship, and it's beautiful. It is a beautiful story, and the entire thing, like, no cringe in sight. I absolutely loved it. And since I read that first, I went backwards and I was like, oh, well, I guess I should read this. So Kwan is Kai's brother, and Kwan and Kai are Michael's cousins. So Michael and Stella they have different issues, basically. So Stella hires Michael, who is an escort, basically, to be like, to teach her how to be a good girlfriend or whatever, and how to have sex and stuff like that. And so there is more sex in this one. However, I feel like it was way better done in the bride test. But that's kind of where the relationship starts, and then it kind of builds from there. And I thought it was good, and I did like it. However, having read the bride test, it does not compare. And I do not believe that you need to read this one in order for the bride test to affect you, because obviously I did it the other direction and it was still like, oh, mess me up, Helen, mess me up. They're both good. I would give the bride test a 10 out of 10, which is not something I would normally do, but it is so good. I loved every single bit of it, and I'm sure that I will reread it. This one I would give it, only because it came after the bride test, am I knocking off an additional star here, because I know what you're capable of. So this one I would say I would give it more of like a 7.5, maybe an 8. It's not bad, but it's not the bride test. Can't wait for her new one. It's coming out in 2020. Another author that I picked up for the first time, I know she's not a new author, but this is Jasmine Guillory, and this is The Wedding Date. So this is another one of those situations where it's like, well, just pretend to be my girl, and then, okay, I'm gonna pretend to be your girl, and then, okay, we're gonna just fall in love, but we're gonna go through some stuff first, and so it's kind of one of those. And in this one, the couple is interracial, so the girl is black, the guy is white. I felt like it could have been a little more subtle sometimes. There were a couple of times in this book where I did like feel it in my chest, but they were very few and far between, versus like the bride test where I thought I was Esme and I was getting messed up, you know what I mean? So I will try some more Jasmine Guillory books. I'm not gonna like write her off as an author. And I believe she has a series, right? It's all wedding sort of related. I feel like a lot of it is like wedding-y. I don't know that this was part of a series. I honestly don't know. I wasn't confused or anything throughout it, so I think that was fine. But Alexa and Drew are our characters here, and I like them, but I don't love either one of them. I was, kind of rooting for them or whatever, but not that, it wasn't that deep. So I would give this one more of like a 6.5 or a 7. I don't know. I'm gonna try some more of her books though, so we'll see. Now let's get to one of the books that I could not finish because it was terrible. So this is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. and it's spelled NG. I might still try to finish this book again, but I picked it up every single night before I went to sleep. I connected my little book light and I tried and I tried and I tried and tried and tried because this book had gotten so much praise, and this is not a romance. I don't know what it is. I'll put it on the screen, whatever it's listed as. And it was part of Reese Witherspoon's book club. And I've quickly figured out that I cannot trust Reese Witherspoon's book club. Although I love Reese and I love books and I'm gonna keep trying anyway, I don't care. But yeah, it's a little slow moving for me, and I don't really enjoy being in the head of teenagers and stuff like that. It's just not for me. So I do feel like maybe I didn't get far enough into it. I got maybe like 100 pages into it, and there's just under 300, I think. I might pick it up again, but it had gotten so much praise, and when I mentioned that I was kind of critical of it, and I was like, I don't get it. A lot of you guys were also like, yeah, we didn't get it either. And so, I don't know, I might try it again. If any of you guys read the whole thing and you're like, no girl, that was amazing, my life has changed, I'll pick it up again. For now, I would not recommend, and I can't give it a proper rating. So let's move into the books that I listened to on Audible. And for the most part, they're all nonfiction. However, one of them that I listened to on Audible, or a series, is a very popular series. And it was Crazy Rich Asians. So I listened to the very first one, Crazy Rich Asians, months and months and months ago, maybe a year ago. And then I took a break, but I loved the movie. I just loved it. And I love books and movies, and you know, like when a book becomes a movie, sometimes I watch the movie first and I'm like, oh, if the movie messed me up, I know the book is gonna mess me up. And I wanna be messed up. That's my goal when I read. Mess me up, okay? Mess me up. But after that, I did listen, these are by Kevin Kwan. I did listen to China Rich Girlfriend and Rich People Problems. They are quite long, and typically I do not like to listen to fictional books. I just don't, especially if they're romance books. Like, it's not the same. Reading it is different. It like touches me differently, and hearing it in my own voice or in the voice that I've created for the characters in my mind is totally different than hearing a narrator do it. But some of you guys, like when you read fantasy books and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, every single character has a different voice. I'm like, shut the front door. They do that? Like, they got a whole cast? Like, what? I might listen to some books, like, on audio. Anyway, so I do these through Audible. I think I can probably put a link down below. I used to partner with them, but I haven't. I don't know. If I have anything that'll save you money down below, I will put it down there. But I know there's another thing too. Is it called Scribble? I don't know what it's called, but I know a lot of you guys are out here using it. I like them all, and I think I would not have liked them if I had read them with my own two eyes. I think that they were incredibly entertaining as audiobooks because of the narration, and because a lot of the names I'm sure I would have been mispronouncing. I did find that to be quite entertaining, but you know, I wasn't like sucked into some big love story, but it was a very entertaining series. I would recommend it. I liked it all, and it felt like it went pretty quick, despite the fact that I think many of the books are like 12, 13, 14, 15 hours long. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty damn long when you listen to them. And I listen at 1.25 speed. Now, moving into the nonfiction, my friends. Nonfiction is my jam, and I almost exclusively listen to nonfiction. Like, I listen to it versus actually reading it. I started doing that a long time ago with the Brene Brown book, because it wasn't, because it was actually, her book was like a talk, it was a speech or whatever, and it was fascinating. Oh, it was fascinating, it was very helpful, and so we'll start with Brene Brown. I listened to Dared to Lead, which is Brave Work, Tough Conversations, Whole Hearts. I liked it. I love Brene Brown. I love the way that she delivers her ideas, and it's very much like a self-help type of book. However, because I had already listened to The Power of Vulnerability, which is incredible, you should listen to that, because it's about teachings on authenticity, connection, and courage. And that was the one that's like a speech, basically. It's a talk. And that one is incredible. I loved it. I really felt like I gained something from it. And I just know that like all of these little things are like just these little nuggets and they're just building up, or they're more like a marble. She loves her marble jar. They're all like a little marble that I get to toss into the jar, and before you know it, like my jar is full and my jar is my life. And now I'm full of all of these things that are actually helping me to be a better person, to be more productive, to be more vulnerable, to be more connected, to be more impressive in my work and business and things like that. So The Power of Vulnerability I would highly recommend. And then the other one that I had listened to from her was Braving the Wilderness. Braving the Wilderness is the quest for true belonging and the courage to stand alone. Again, that one was really good. I like Brene Brown, duh. Okay, so the thing with Dare to Lead was if you had listened to her others already, and if you were already a Brene fan and you were already kind of immersed in her work, Dare to Lead did not present that much new information to me. It just kind of felt like a recap. And in addition to that, it was very much about work and kind of like classic work environments. And I don't work in a classic work environment. I don't have coworkers. I don't go to the office. So while I think it was a good book for someone who maybe is in that situation and maybe not a Brene fan, someone who's not totally immersed yet, I would not necessarily recommend it otherwise. I didn't lose anything by listening to it, but I don't think I really gained that much either. I can't even tell you one thing that I remember that I was like, yes, that was good to know. And some of her stories and stuff were from previous works of hers, and I was like, you're telling the story again, girl? I liked it the first time, but I don't need to hear it again after I paid for another Audible credit for this. But anyway, another book that I listened to was The Power of Broke by Daymond John. And you guys might know Daymond John from the series Shark Tank on ABC, I think. And I picked this book up a long time ago, but it took me a while to actually listen to it. And I enjoyed it. If you guys don't know, Daymond John was like the original founder of FUBU, right? For us, by us, FUBU. And he became a millionaire and, you know, he's doing the damn thing, right? Daymond John's out here killing it. This book did speak to the idea of the power of broke. It was very much about business, and with me like starting a new business and you know, diving into some different areas that I haven't necessarily, you know, been in before, I wanted to hear different perspectives, and I like The Power of Broke because I'm not broke. And he was talking about how sometimes when you have money, that can actually kind of be a detriment because you can throw money at something versus really throwing yourself into it and getting creative and having to grind it out because you don't have the money, and now you have to be, you know, you have to do things kind of from the bottom up, which is how I originally started, which is how I actually found success in my life, was by using the power of broke. Now, this book is not narrated by Daymond John, and typically I really hate that. I hate when the author doesn't narrate it, when it's someone's voice that I recognize. However, I believe Daymond John has, what is it called? Not ADHD. He can't, he's dyslexic. I'm pretty sure it's dyslexia. So it's actually narrated by Sway. Sway in the morning. Sway. So his voice is also, you know, I know who Sway is. So The Power of Broke on the front, it says how empty pockets, a tight budget, and a hunger for success can become your greatest competitive advantage. And I think he did a really good job. I think the book was great. He profiled different stories, so it's not just Daymond John's story, although he does go into that for sure, but he profiles different people and you definitely get some different perspectives, and I found it to be very enlightening, and I do feel like I took some stuff away from it to apply to my regular life. So I also picked up and read listened to How's Your Soul by Judah Smith. And this was not the first book that I had listened to from Judah. I had listened to, I'll pop it on the screen, I forgot what it's called, Jesus something. Are you there, Jesus? Something like that. I forgot what it's called. But and I enjoyed that. And I think a big reason of why I enjoy his books is because I'm listening to them. Judah is, he's a pastor, and he is a really phenomenal storyteller, like a communicator, okay? So he does a great job at delivering his message, which is no surprise being that he is, in fact, a pastor. So he definitely delivers his message wonderfully. There's humor. I really enjoyed it. And so How's Your Soul is kind of about when everything's sort of going wrong. I mean, it's been a couple months since I read it, but from what I remember, it was about like kind of working from the inside out, and sometimes some of the issues and stuff that we have that we're dealing with in life, and some of the things that we're dealing with, you know, we think that they are sort of outside of us, and really it's like, I enjoyed his book because it's kind of a reminder, and it's good for me personally. I know I need this. Even with reading the Bible, for me it's really helpful to read books like this that can kind of spin the word, not spin it in a bad way, but spin it into a way that I can understand better and I can more easily apply to my life. Because a lot of with reading the Bible, a lot of it to me is figuring out in my own words, in my own mind, what the word is actually saying to me. You know, I can read the words, and I will say that my boyfriend has been a really amazing sort of, I don't want to call him a resource, but like I can, if I have a question or if I'm ever like, I wonder what this means, like he's always been a really great sort of sounding board there. It's nice to read books like this. So How's Your Soul was just like a nice sort of reminder of the things that I should be doing. And it's a lot of little stories and stuff from Judah, and I just found it to be very enjoyable. So I will definitely pick up probably Judah's other book, which I think was actually the oldest one. Moving on, I also listened to How to Be a Boss by Lilly Singh, and this one I actually happened to have the physical one because I bought the physical one and I was convinced I was going to read it like this, and it is really cute. I do love when a book actually puts a little bit of extra jazz and effort into it. And I had never actually seen Lilly Singh's YouTube, and to be quite honest, I didn't even know she was a YouTuber, which is crazy because she has so many followers and everything. I didn't know that when I first like saw this book, but I was drawn to it, and I passed it up at least a dozen times before I actually picked it up. And then I went home and I started reading it, and I was like, you know what? I bet this is on Audible, and I bet she is the one that is actually saying it. So despite the fact that her voice was not recognizable to me, because like I said, I had never actually seen any of her videos, I went ahead and I got it on Audible, and that was a really enjoyable experience. I do think it was a good book. If you like Lilly, it's probably a great book, and you'd probably really enjoy sort of you know, hearing some of her stories and stuff. And again, if you guys haven't seen kind of a trend on some of this stuff, I am trying to pick up more books from, you know, people of color, basically, more specifically women. I love women, and I love listening to women. Obviously, Judah's not a woman, and Daymond's not a woman, but Kevin Kwan's not a woman. But I just want to be a little bit more well-versed in life, but from the perspective of people that, frankly, I differ from greatly. So I did enjoy this book. I think if I were to pick it up and flip through it and sort of reread and stuff, I'd probably get some new nuggets of information. I can't think of any huge thing, but I enjoyed the process of reading it and everything. Like, it was humorous. I liked it. Another celeb book was We're Gonna Need More Wine by Gabrielle Union. I listened to this one on a back and forth trip to New York because she works with New York & Company, and now with Fashion to Figure, she also has her line with Fashion to Figure. And it happened to be a time where I was going to New York to see Fashion to Figure, and they had mentioned to me, you know, I knew that Gabrielle Union was coming out with a line for Fashion to Figure, and I was like, you know, I should pick up her book, and I'll listen to that. So I listened to it on my back and forth trip that day to New York, and it was interesting. I will say that I think that she is definitely letting you in a lot more than some other celebrities might. However, just to be totally frank, I don't think the book was really for me. I didn't gain a whole lot from it. When I read books like that, typically I feel like at the end, it's almost like the person changed. I don't know if they changed, but she kind of goes through her whole life. And it's not about changing, but like you see that they have like gone through all these things, and then they recognize, you know, the good and the bad of every situation, and then they use that to kind of become who they are now. And I don't know that I saw that full like progression in the book. Not that she hasn't done that in her actual life, but I just think that's kind of where the book was a little bit lacking for me. It just didn't like super appeal to me, I guess, but it was fine. It was like, it wasn't a very long book. And I think that's gonna be it for this actual video, because I know this has been really long already. And like I said, since the new year, I've actually already read and listened to about 5 or 6 more books. On to the next one. I just finished another one last night, and this one has, I'm gonna have some good like nonfiction and some fiction in there, and so I will probably check back in about a month. But like I said, if you guys care to have more of this, then you can follow my Instagram, and I'll try to post what I'm actually reading on there so that you can read it or get like a little snippet, you know, before I actually post this video. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this. You guys let me know if you have any recommendations of your own, now that we're kind of getting more of a vibe of what I like and what I don't like. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I will link everything that I can down below, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye guys.